Hey folks, welcome back to the Pulse. My name is Matt, and this is Crypto Heartbeat. It's a little earlier. It's 10:30 a.m. Central Texas time, and I want to welcome you back because I feel compelled to share with you this content today. You know, it's not very often that something happens so significantly. So think about this. Here's my case I'll make to you. News stories happen, right? And how many people actually pay attention? And what do? We take those news stories and we run with them, right? You know, whether it's the Federal Reserve or whatever crypto news there is. But it's very rare that something happens like this. And the reason I am doing this stream is because of Texan Token, because of Texas independence, and because of essentially the heart of the nation. And I want to make some observations and shine light on something that I think you need to be paying attention to. And so, without further ado, by Oliver Anthony, you're going to see it here, and I'm going to share with you some thoughts, and then I'm going to break down a bunch of stuff I got prepared for you on this stream. And I want you to think deeply about this because this is really important stuff.
I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just want to have total control. Want to know what you think, want to know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end. Cause the rich men, cause the rich men. I wish politicians look out for miners, and not just miners on an island somewhere. Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare. God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground, 'cause all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down. Lord, it's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just want to have total control. Want to know what you think, want to know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end. 'Cause the rich men north of Richmond. I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay.
All right. If you listen to that song and it does not speak to something deep in your soul, at least you must not be listening to it. The reason I'm doing this is really important, and I hope to be able to communicate that to you. I'm going to share with you a number of other things from Oliver Anthony. You know, there comes a time, very, very rarely, when a piece of art shocks so many people to the core. It speaks to something that they feel so inherently and viscerally. And we're going to look at some other information, an interview by Oliver Anthony, and this is 5 days old. He did his first live presentation of this. And if you understand this story, you know, we talk about viral videos and all that stuff. You know, there's a generational thing that happens. And, you know, I wasn't around when Bob Dylan hit the scene. And of course, you know, we think about Bob Dylan as kind of a celebrity now. But if you think about it, Bob Dylan didn't have the impact because he had a great voice. It's this voice of a generation. But more than a generation here is really what is important. And so there's a lot of things within that song I want to break down. The first one is just this amazing play on words. Rich men north of Richmond. And obviously this is talking about, you know, DC elites. But this song touches on money, taxation. It talks about, and I think an amazing way, it talks about obesity. It talks about child trafficking. And when you hear this background and backstory from Oliver Anthony, and you kind of got to dig in a little bit to hear these things of why and what has happened, I want you to see yourself in this, because this is just a guy, right? He's been playing the guitar since he was a kid, but he's not some incredible musician. This is a moment in time, and it is captivating people. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that. Okay. I want you to observe the surroundings. This is the first live, and there's a bunch of different camera views of this because a lot of people were there. But this right here is the first live, and this is the Morris Farm Market. I want you to watch in the background. This is just a portion of this video.
Men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground, because all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down.
Listen to those folks.
Lord, it's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me.
All right, I'm going to back up. Watch this guy in the back here. You see this guy with the beard? He's actually a musician himself. But just watch him wipe his face.
For people like me and people like you, it's I can just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Lord, it is living in the new world with an old soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just want to have total control. Want to know what you think, want to know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do, because your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end, cause the rich men north of Richmond.
Listen to that crowd. Here's the thing that I think is important to note about this this moment, right? And that's really what I want to point out. I'm not pointing out this guy or his, you know, musical ability, but what it is capturing. You know, we started this Texan token thing, and we partnered up with the T&M, and these are the kind of things that you cannot manufacture. It's when, and it's really I would consider it's a symptom or a result of something that's happening currently in our world. And that is, these things end up leaking out into culture through music, right? And it takes such deep frustration for people to be able to get to a point where the only way they can communicate these things is through song, is by writing these things out, and then it strikes a chord deeply in people. And I'm gonna show you something that's really interesting. So I started watching reaction videos to this guy's song. Okay. And I want to challenge you to look at this. This is all you have to type into YouTube to see all of this is Oliver Anthony reaction. That's the only thing I've typed in. Okay. Oliver Anthony reaction. Okay. Take a look at this. Because I think the woke side of the world, right? People want to they want to say, well, this is just some redneck and he's from Appalachia, right? And this is what the woke folks are going to do. He's just another white supremacist. Oh, is that right? Oh, is that right? Take a look at this. This is by just sharing or just searching Oliver Anthony reaction. Take a look at this. Every one of these videos, look at these guys, right? African American guys, blown away. This guy freaking out. This guy like almost crying. This woman, oh my gosh, freaking out. I started walking through all of these reaction videos, and it is just, people are stunned. Absolutely stunned. Check this out. So he pulls out his Bible.
It's crazy to me because I remember back in June I played here for about 20 people, and
Yes, Mr. Anthony is shocked.
That wasn't the one I was thinking it was. So incredible. It's cutting across all demographics. It's cutting across, that's what I think is really amazing is when you speak to something that's very it's obvious, but it requires something like this to ignite something in people. I've often thought about Texas independence and how music plays a role in that. And of course, Texas music goes way, way, way back. But there's something about this message, right? Rich men north of Richmond. It is kind of an eat the rich kind of thing, right? But it's not just Richmond. It's really about power. And that's really what this is defining, this idea they want to know everything that you do. Control and power. And I think that that's one of the big reasons that this, completely captivates people. But I'm going to challenge this idea. Where does this come from? And I don't mean where does the songwriting come from? Where does the music come from? Where do these moments come from? Well, I would say these are a part of the order of creation. This is an indication of the trajectory of where things are going. You think about decentralized finance, right? We're in this DeFi world and we see the promise of Hex and Pulse X and just insert any immutable contract on the blockchain. We know inherently that there is a new economic order coming. If you look into the Bible, you'll see that there is a reference to Babylon burning in an hour. And we know that this is set up to ultimately fail. And the question is, how's it going to be resolved? And so as you're sitting in this deep, dark place where many people are sitting, and that might be because of finances, it might be for a lot of different reasons, there is hope. And I want you to see that what we're doing in this pulse chain ecosystem, and it's not about a man. That's why I want to make sure it's clear. It's not about the musician or it's not about Richard Hart. There is something taking place. And this is a huge data point to me of people who are fed up. And it's essentially what's a clarion call to people to say, no, it's time. And, politicians are always just licking their finger and seeing which way the wind blows. They're paying attention to this. And this should give you, some encouragement, because this is tapping into the heart of people that are not in power. And so you can only, this is unsustainable. And we all know that it's unsustainable. But I point all of this out to say this is something different. This isn't just a news story. And you're like, oh, Crypto Harpy, you're all like into this music heart thing. No, no, no. This is significant. And I really want to challenge you to take a moment quietly and listen to that song. And then I want you to hear this. This is going to take a little bit of time to walk through. I put it on 1.5, but I want you to hear from this young man himself. Even though he is a ginger, and we know that maybe gingers are soulless, this guy's got a soul. So let's listen to this interview real quick, and let's take some things away from it for our own selves, because I think this is really important. So he recorded this intro video prior to the song becoming live. So let's listen.
Right. It's August the 7th, 2023. And as of this recording, tomorrow on Tuesday, Radio WV is going to upload the debut of Richmond North of Richmond. And it's going to be the first song to get out there that's been recorded on a real microphone and a real camera, and not just on my cell phone. And Lord willing, it's going to get some traffic, and maybe at least a few of you are going to drift your way over here. And I thought I'd have kind of an introduction video on what it is I'm aiming to do here. So, I've been playing a long time and singing. I really started to write my own music back in 2021. Things were obviously not good for a lot of people, and in some respects, I was one of those people. And I had wasted a lot of nights getting high and getting drunk, and I had sort of gotten to a point in my life where even things that I did care about didn't mean anything to me anymore. And I mean, this is certainly no Dr. Phil episode, but I found an outlet in this music, and I started uploading a couple songs, and Ain't Got a Dollar I uploaded spring of last year, and then Rich Man's Gold, Cobwebs and Cocaine, and the list goes on from there. And there's probably been about a dozen or so originals that I've put out just off my cell phone. And I started getting messages from people saying like how much the music was helping them, and with their struggles in their lives, and that they'd been sitting on the back porch listening to me for the last hour. And it just I don't know, it really gave me a purpose. It made me feel like I wasn't just wasting my time. And so anyway, kind of in the last roller coaster of the last year, I have decided that this is going to be what I do. At all costs, no matter what, I'm going to write, create, and produce as much original, authentic music as I can, in the hopes that it'll at least help somebody out there that needs it. And I know we're living in dark times, and I know that this is really just the beginning of what's to come. And there's a lot of beautiful people in this world, and I meet a lot of awesome people every day. Even back when I did work in the factory, I sing about selling my soul, and I am a ginger, so I don't know if I have a soul to sell or not. But I met a lot of good people even back then, working third shift, 12 hours, 6 days a week. And now I spend a lot of time on job sites, and I meet people from all across the country. And the universal thing I see is that it's like no matter how hard they push and how much effort they put into whatever it is they're doing, they just can't quite get ahead because the dollar's not worth enough. It's being overtaxed. People are just sick and tired of being sick and tired. And so, yeah, I want to be a voice for those people, and not just them, just humans in general, and some of the struggles and the battles that they go through. And there'll be a lot of positive songs on here too. And there already are some, 90 some Chevy and Between You and Me. And I mean, even Ain't Got a Dollar. Those are going to be fun songs. And there'll be plenty more like that. But I appreciate you taking the time to listen, and hopefully you like what you hear. My email is oliveranthonymusic@gmail.com.
All right, I encourage you to watch the rest of that. But the thing I wanted to point out was, here's somebody, right? And he's just like you and me, right? Just like you, just like me. And you're doing something. And he said, I was doing drugs. I was, working all the time. And it's like purpose, right? What is the purpose? Why are you here? And here's a guy who found it. And you think about the purity of doing the work, right? He's been playing for a long time, and just now something cut through. What are you doing that is a reflection of the core essence of who you are? Because there's power in this, right? And you're like, well, it's 1 in a million, right? But it's not just about a cool hook, and it's about authenticity. And when I watch this video and I see him, what do I see? I see in the hills of Virginia, in a holler, right? He's got the reverb of being in that space. Behind him is a deer blind. He's got his dogs. You can just tell a lot about him. And the passion in which he sings and the what is communicated through that is an anthem, in my opinion, for people who want to be independent and who don't want to be under the hand of control. And he talks about, there's so many pieces of that song. He talks about being an old soul in a new world. What does that really speak to for you? For me, we think about our traditional values, right? You know, I was born in 1973, I'm 50 years old. And I think about what things were like when I was a kid. 3 channels, right? I'm sure there was all kinds of control and the CIA was still the CIA, but there was something simpler about it. And there was something about the family. There was something about these core things. And what we're seeing is people are pitting us one against another. And this is a classic Marxism trick, right? This is right out of the pages of the book. And so rather than looking at our neighbor, we've got somebody who's saying, hey, rich men north of Richmond. And to me, this is a call to action. It's a call to action, not in some violent way. It's a call to action in, you're not alone in feeling this way. And so when I think about crypto and I see all these meme coins, right? People pumping P-Dye and people throwing up tokens and, you know, putting oranges on everything. You know, what's really going on here? Obviously, hey, any shiny thing we can wave in front of people, try to attract them. But in my opinion, we're taking the long view. And what is the long view? There are communities of people that need, 1, inspiration, but 2, they need the tools. They need the framework that is aligned with the very nature of creation, meaning it is abundant. And so what Rags and I are doing and the entire team, whether it be with Texan, Ophir, Freedom Swap, Unifier, our ecosystem of freedom and sovereignty, is that we see what's at stake. And this song, it illustrates it tremendously. And it's an indicator of what times we live in. And it's a time that we need to get involved. And so there are folks in the Texas nationalist movement. I think they're up to 500,000 people now that are members. In my opinion, there are catalysts for this next phase. What can we do, right? They're just a bunch of rich men north of Richmond. What can we do? It's gotten so bad that songs like this hit the very soul of people. And some people are seeing it because they got to put diesel in their truck and it's like $4 a gallon. And there's other people who see it and they're like, I'm sick and tired of all this stuff of defending and watching out for people who are criminals, right? Whether it be the child sex trafficking or whatever it may be. And they're like, this is upside down, folks. How do we right this ship? And so to me, this song, and the reason I do this is a call out to good people. And I've often said, where do good people go? We have an opportunity in the state of Texas to take it back. And what are we doing when we say take it back? What we're saying is, let's understand who we are in this story. If you look at the Declaration of Independence, it says these rights that we have, they're self-evident, right? They're not given to us by the state. So we are the creators of the government, right? We are the sovereigns because we have life in us. And if you listen to my last stream with Steve Staggs, we talked about this. This life that we have is the true sovereignty. But what does the state say? We're the only sovereigns. And so what do we do when we come underneath the Constitution or we come underneath the government? We abdicate our sovereignty to them, right? No. We created this, so we can recreate this. We can. We don't have to ask permission. There comes a time when you either abolish or change these things. And so what are we advocating for? And what is this song a clarion call to? But to stand up and to change the system. Why? Because we believe that the very fundamentals of this can be saved. Why and how? Because those in the past who have aligned themselves with the very nature of an abundant creation have served all people. That's why they call it good news, because it actually protects these things like freedom of speech, freedom of movement, freedom to privacy, freedom to transact. And so, what I see as the tools that we have in front of us, we have to preserve. We have to preserve the basis of freedom and sovereignty. Well, you are the sovereign, not the state. So that's why Article 1, Section 2 of the Texas Constitution says that all political power is inherent in the people. All political power, not partial political power, because we do not receive our rights from the state. These are inalienable, they're self evident. And so what ends up happening is we know they're self evident. So a guy sings a song like Oliver Anthony, and we go, yes, he's reminding us, yes, we are the sovereigns. We are the ones that have the power. We actually employ these folks, and these rich men north of Richmond have decided that they're drunk with power. And, that's why Texas independence is so great. Because, there's an amazing story. If you look at the history of, Western society, and you look at what it's based upon, and you look at the American idea, right, which we talk about with the Constitution and such, the men of that era could have easily been kings. There could have been kingdoms here, but they decided, no, we're going to give it away. This whole idea of, no, let's check this power. Let's balance this power. Well, what's happened? We've got a fourth leg of the government. It's called the bureaucratic state. What do we see with the SEC, right? This is regulation through enforcement, right? Something that the legislature should actually handle, right? A regulatory body is making law. And we shouldn't even leave it to the courts. This is not their duty. It's a legislative thing. And this is of the people, representational, right? And it ceased to become that. And so, one of the things I think is important about Texas independence is the fact that we have to reboot the system. And how do you do that? Why do you reboot your computer? Especially if you're on a Windows machine. It's like, oh, it's getting so slow. What do I need to do? I need to restart the system. Well, it's not that the core idea of America is broken. It's that it needs to be preserved. And so when I hear this song and I see so many people of every walk of life going, hold on, you're speaking to the very nature and soul of what I feel, it gives us permission. So the question I got for you is it bad enough yet? Because we're about to launch Ophir Crypto. Ophir is our second project in this plan to tokenize communities across the world. And what's incredible about it is I was on a space today and we were talking about this whole idea of what is at stake. What is at stake? If we do not stand up, sign petitions, get it on the ballot, and give the people this voice, right? And we stand up and we demand this vote. What does it do for us? Well, what are the alternatives? The alternatives are that there's not a place good people can go. Texas is the 9th largest economy in the world right now. And you imagine what things look like if you could reboot the system. And I don't mean for one political party. I mean that everyone has an opportunity, because this system isn't about left or right. What do they say? It's about right and wrong. And so what do? Everyone comes to the table. Sensible people come to the table and they say, you know what? We need to reform this thing. And how do we do it? Well, put a boot in your ass. It's the American way. How do we preserve America in Texas? By folks getting out there, signing the petition, getting on the ballot. Because here's the thing, 66% of Texans, likely voters, want to see Texas independence. Why? Is it so that, man, we can just destroy America? No, America's already been destroyed. Isn't it obvious? The question is, when will those rich men north of Richmond take us seriously? And I think it takes someone like Texans, independent-minded people, to stand up and show the way. Because what ends up happening when you do this, and this is where crypto fits in so uniquely. Most people around the world don't understand the difference between FTX and Hex. They think FTX and centralized exchanges like Coinbase is crypto. What happens when they understand actually what's going on? Well, what's it going to take? Well, most people are going to have to wait until they have, the next, Charlie 19 episode. They don't have any money and they rely on the government to give them a government wallet because stimulus money is only going to come through that government wallet. It's going to be digital CBDC, a digital dollar. And it'll come with its own social credit score and its digital ID. Or are we going to have an alternative? And so everybody, fighting over this token or that token. Folks, in my opinion, the only layer one or ecosystem that's based on the layer one that is going to be for freedom and sovereignty, that actually protects the true tenets of DeFi, are going to be the Richard Heart ecosystem. Why? Because there's no other founder out there that, in my opinion, won't compromise their principles. Richard Heart will not compromise his principles. And he understands this almost if he knew this in advance. And that's why I think a lot of us say, wow, he must be a genius. I don't think this is about the intelligence of man. I think this is truly about the story that is a part of this history, which is God's plan in the world. Really? Yeah, you don't have to understand God for him to use you. But to see all of these things coming together, and what is our role in all of this, is to give it away. What's the beauty of open source software? What do you mean? I don't have to build the software and you're going to let me take this and use it as my own? Yep. What does it look like? That's abundance. It's about giving. Many of you have heard me talk about the vision that I was given years and years ago, which was to unlock global generosity. This idea of unlocking global generosity literally came to me. And I'm like, how are you going to accomplish all of this? I have no idea. And now I'll fast forward 10, 12 years, and I see what's happening. The story that was given to me was the story of the feeding of the 5,000. And the account is in the book of John. And there's a boy. Andrew actually sees this boy. This boy comes and gives 5 loaves and 2 fish, and basically all of his family food. So think about this. It's the first century. And there's a guy, he's going to be speaking outside of town, right? You're going to a lecture. And this fellow Jesus is up there going to speak. And so it's first century. There's no Applebee's. There's no 7-Eleven, right? There's no place to get food. So what do you probably do? You're probably like, hey, we're going outside the city. We better pack up. So what does a family do? Probably what your family does. Grabs a cooler and a backpack, and here we go. So what ends up happening is the disciples see that these people are getting hungry. It's getting late in the day. And they say to Jesus, well, how do we feed these people? There's just, what do we do? And a boy gives. And I want you to see yourself as that boy. The boy gives 5 loaves and 2 fish. Okay. That's not lunch. That's likely his entire family's food. And imagine you're a parent. I've got kids, right? And I imagine my 12-year-old boy going, hey, Mom, Dad, can I take all the food we have and give it to Jesus? Not only the family going, well, hang on, how are we going to have anything? But just like the faith of a child, to go and to give something and to say, it is not by my hands that these things are multiplied. It's by the power of this one, Jesus. And so the story of giving is actually where we come in line with the very nature of creation. Is it, what are you willing to give? And so when I look into this community and I see people like RG3, right? And you see somebody who's willing to give everything. Why? Hexo? Why? Rags? Why? Your friend Somi? Why? Is it just because we're going to, I'm going to amass as much as I possibly can, get bigger barns to protect all of my goods so I can live in the lap of luxury and get off the grid and forget about the cares of this world? Or are we going to play a role? So the question is, what is that purpose? So for me, it's like, hold on a second. These 5 loaves and 2 fish were taken by Jesus himself. And let me ask you this question. Some people are saying, hey, it was a miracle. He literally had a bag and he pulled bread and fish out to feed people. I don't believe that that's true. And some people say, well, that's heresy. Well, it's unknown in the Bible. But let me ask you this question. Would you go outside of the city in the first century Palestine? Would you go out there without your food and water for your family? No, but what happened is people saw that this boy gave. That's you and me. We're giving this contracts on the blockchain to say, hold on, long-term delayed gratification in an endowment contract to communities that already have trust, and saying, hey, all we can give you is 5 loaves and 2 fish. We don't have much, but we know the one that can multiply it. Well, what ended up happening? Is it possible that the people around there sitting out there, they say there was 5,000 men, could have been 10,000 or more people. Would they have seen that act of generosity and said, you know what, we got a little more than we need, right? And think about when you pack up to go to the beach, you got a bag of chips, you got the loaf of bread, you got all this stuff, and you're like, you know what, we may have a little bit more than we need as well. Well, it says that the disciples, they picked up 12 basketfuls left over. 12 basketfuls left over. There's an abundance in this world if we come in alignment with it. And that's what I see with Texas Independence. That's what I see in this song, is it's speaking to this loss, this angst that is around scarcity. It's not the way it ought to be. So let's listen to this song one more time. And I want you to listen carefully too, because it's one of these things where you have to listen to it a number of times. And so, Oliver Anthony. All right, let me pull this up. Oh, so good. It's so good. All right, let me share my screen.
Well, I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end, 'cause the rich men, 'cause the rich men. I wish politicians look out for miners, and not just miners on an island somewhere. Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare. Well, God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground, 'cause all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down. Lord, it's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end, 'cause the rich men, north of rich men. I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay.
You are witnessing a moment in cultural history. And I saw Finn Bear up there. He was like, hey guys, my eyes start to break up in a sweat. You know what's amazing about this? This isn't something that's just reserved for Americans. I think that, going through the Charlie 19, we all had a common experience globally. And there are things that we can relate to. And now that we've got communication technologies like this, we see this in the Hex and Pulse community. We see people, there's no barriers, right? We're building new digital nations. And there's a currency to it, right? And there's a set of ideals, and there's leadership, there are rules, but there's love and there's abundance. And if you think about this idea of what Richmond, north of Richmond, represent, it's a system, and that system has gotten off the tracks. So the question is, what can you do? And that's where I really feel like this is what we're doing. And I mean that our whole team. This is Ophir, this is Texan, this is Freedom Swap, this is all of it. We're going to advocate for people taking back their sovereignty rather than being slaves to a system. And how do you do that? Well, we've been tasked with the money. Well, what does the money look like? So your friend Somi, one of my favorite influencers, always reminds us about Metcalfe's law. It's all about this growth of adoption, right? Price is just a result of that. I was looking at the number of holders of the Texan contract on Ethereum, and it's going up, not down. 20,000 plus holders. Those same people were copied over to the Pulse chain. Ophir is going to launch this week. We're going to see how many holders are there. And if you're a Texan staker, you'll be happy about it. But folks, this is the beginning of something really special. And it's going to take a whole tapestry of different things, right? The TNM doing their online petition. If you're somebody in Texas and you haven't signed that, please sign that. Give the people this opportunity, right? We demand this opportunity. So I just wanted to take a minute out, and I wanted to focus some attention on what I perceive as a moment in cultural history, and to see something that people from all walks of life are seeing, and it's resonating with them. And what gives me hope is this is what resonated with me about Hex and Pulse Chain and all of the people in this community, is that authentic people, when we get together, what is there? There's not division. It's high-fiving. It's a hug from David Lee. It's people that are supporting one another. Why? Because there's no barriers. People aren't concerned about your politics, right? We're winning together because we see a big change coming. It is important that you share with people what's going on. And the reason that people would get into some of these cryptocurrencies or get into the Pulse chain or whatever it may be, I want to remind you, it's not just financial, but it is representative, and I think is going to be preserved as the only true, pure DeFi layer one that exists. I think Richard's known this all along. He's been talking about money as speech for a long time. He knows something you don't know, and I don't know. But you know what? Everybody's been chosen for a purpose, whether it be Richard Hart or Oliver Anthony or David Lee. I challenge you to fulfill the purpose. There is purpose for you. And it's so cool to see a guy like this who's just like, I found it. And he recorded that interview prior to him even knowing that this was going to go viral, because he knew that something special was going to happen. Because if you've ever written a song like that, or you've ever created any kind of art, it's like a gift that's been given to you. And what people see in it and what resonates with you is not just the work of your hands. And so I'm pausing for a moment to say, take a look at the times that we live in, and do not be discouraged, because we're in partnership with the one who created it all. We're not alone, and you're not alone. And your self-worth isn't tied directly to your bank account. So let's give, and let's give, and let's give some more, because that's all that matters. Help other people win. Serve other people. That's the key to this whole thing. And here's the thing. You won't have to convince somebody that, oh, yeah, this is a great investment opportunity. No, it'll be obvious. It will be obvious. There will always be degens. But when it comes to building a community of people, who do you want to be around? People that would drive 7.5 hours to come to your dad's funeral? That's David Lee. That's the kind of people I want to be with. Authentic people who want to improve the lives of each other. Even Rags won't admit it. He's one of those guys. Let's say hello to you, and then we'll sign off. Sam Kemp, what's going on? Great way to start the week. Ego Foundation. Hello, my friend. Degen Dougie Peach, my online ghost. Listened to this a couple days ago and feel every word, and so did I. Absolutely. He feels every word. And it's amazing what that communicates. So much more than just the song. Amazing. Godfather J6, what's going on? Rich Liberation. Hex Glenn. Yeah, let's set the captives free. And what's so neat about this is, I guess we don't technically set them free, but what we do is we animate these tools so that it can happen for people. But you can't force somebody to use their MetaMask wallet, nor would you want to. That's the beauty of choice. That's the beauty of this being open source and this being, completely transparent on the blockchain with no counterparty risk, no middlemen. Why? It's your option. But right now, we don't have those alternatives. And I think as minutes and hours and weeks tick by, you will find that we'll have less and less and less of those options. And you'll be more and more thankful that you have someone that saw this ahead of time and is going to defend these tools so that they're available, because that's what the SEC is coming after. They don't like the idea of you using your own money. Folks, they exist because of us. Our sovereignty created them. Let's not forget the position that we hold. You are sovereign. Come get me, aliens. I listened to this song like 5 times last night. I couldn't get out of my head. I watched everything, all these reaction videos, all this stuff. I was just stunned. And to see people who you would not expect for their heart, people tearing up. I'm like, what? Over this guy with a beard singing? Yep. It's not just a song. It's an anthem. And it's a moment in cultural history. And we just gotta observe it. Jeremiah R., you nailed it. He nailed it. He totally nailed it. Truth, pure and simple. Absolutely. Original Hex Swimmer. Thanks, Matt, for the song link. Absolutely. It's in the description if you want to take a look at it. Are you going to reach out to him for an interview? Wouldn't that be awesome? Wouldn't that be so cool? We need to get his MetaMask wallet address or a public address. We need to airdrop the fellow. Paul says, my dad got to watch him perform from backstage in New York City. My dad was going to NYU at the time. Oh, I think you're talking about Bob Dylan, right? Well, and just that was a whole other time. You knew that there was something special going on there. Yeah, David Feeder does it all. I can't help but think of David Feeder when I see that. He does it all. Rags joked about that last night. Isn't that funny? Oh, my goodness. Hex Glenn, Hexaquin, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for all of your support and help. The tears are a-flowing. Let's see who else is here. Chris Crypto, what's up, everyone? John May, what's up, buddy? Love this guy's music. He speaks the truth. What's up, Chad? Very based, as the younger folks say, 100%. They only tax and try to control the wealth we make, but now the CBDCs will give them full control. Yeah, and that's the plan, right? This playbook is obvious, right? This is ultimately leading to the Hunger Games, right? All the decadent people in the city. But that's why this call, Rich Men North of Richmond. Oh, it's just absolutely beautiful. This song makes me so emotional. That's what I found everybody that I watched. Me too. I'm like, this is unbelievable. So that's the big question. That's why I'm even talking about this. There's something special that happens when art, I think we see a glimpse of God. I really do. I think these are gifted to us, right? It's gifted to this man. And we hear it. And why does it do that? I'm 55, never had a song hit me this way. That's why I'm doing it, man. Bill, thanks so much for sharing that. I totally agree. John May's from Virginia as well. And so is Rags, right? Rags can relate. Andy's ginger on top of it. Checks my pulse. I love that guy. Just saw the videos over the weekend. Very talented. Who opened my recent watch playlist. How cool is this? Finbear from Finland. This is how amazing this world is, that we can communicate and we can be on the same page with our buddy Finbear. Magnus, what's going on? Did you onboard him? We might have to force him in, right? And how amazing though when you see that, you want to support it, right? And it's amazing. I would just challenge you, speak up, folks. It's you get scared about stuff, but speak up. Be amazed how many people agree. Much love to you, my friend. I'd say nothing is new, but I feel something new approaching. Amen, Hex Glenn. That's how I feel as well. That's why I'm doing this. There's something here. Bob Dylan sold his soul. He tells about it in the 60 Minutes interview. Yeah, and many of these people have done that. I mean, this is not, it's not all what you see, right? There are evil forces at work. The way he admits to being rock bottom and finding God, wow, yeah. And take a look at his interviews. He reads Psalm 39 before one of the songs, and he's just starting to do the tour. But you watch, and I'm sure he'll continue to write. You're like, you're beating a dead horse here, Crypto Heartbeat. Yeah, I am. It's meaningful. Time for a reboot. Time for the winds of change to tear through Washington like a hurricane. And you know what? That's the thing. This fractional reserve banking system, right? Keynesian economics is going to fall under its own weight. Babylon will burn in an hour. And you imagine, here's the thing, folks. You just need to know this. What people are trying to do in this world is get yield, right? The reason they're not in crypto yet is because they're getting yield in bonds. The big boys are getting yield still. What are you going to get, a 2.5x maybe out of Bitcoin? This is going to be the only option where yield is, especially trustless yield. And people are going to understand what that means at some point. You just got to hang on, right? What does Richard always say? Founders and holders. Patricia, I found out this morning that America is in the Great Depression stats. Wow. Let's take a look at that. There's a song about Bob Dylan and his soul trading made by a fellow the name. Okay, very good. With all the people working from home since the zombie virus, can't we tell representatives to step aside and we all vote on issues inside our own homes and our devices, right? And you think about these new systems, that's what reform is. And that's what I think is so incredible about Texas independence, right? Is that this isn't about one political party getting their way. And that's where people misunderstand. And that's what I admire about Daniel Miller so much. He's like, our goal isn't to dictate policy. It's to reboot the system. And we need everyone at the table from all backgrounds, right? From all political affiliations. You have to say, all right, we are going to come to the table and reform this. And you want to be sensible. I mean, think how seriously the founders took it. Read the Federalist Papers if you want to see how seriously they took it. It's about right and wrong. David Lee, he's a little late, but he's always on time. What's going on? What's up, Mr. Rafferty? Ashley, red and blue are on the same team. And that's the thing. I totally agree with you. You think about when times are tough, it doesn't matter the political affiliation, right? The problem is people are trying to take away your identity. And look at this, identity politics. Think about this idea of, castrating children, but this idea of, it's whatever the pronouns or whatever they may be, this is all about challenging the nature of identity. Because if I can get you to forget who you are, forget that you're a sovereign person who created this system, you will subject yourself to it. And that's what we're pushing back on. I'm going to help as many people as I can. And hopefully while doing so, I can lead them back to God or come to know God. Wow, John. Amen to that, man. In your story itself, right? That's what God is constantly saying. It's not that the people were rescued and delivered out of slavery, out of Egypt. It's that it happens all the time, and we all are being called out of Egypt. Both red and blue care more about the rich. Mobius, good to see you, man. My eyes are starting to sweat. Good folks in the USA need to get educated so they don't get left behind with the entire Midwest own capital. When they don't take responsibility during the good times, they suffer during the hard times. Yeah, there's a whole story. Joseph, actually, we may end up having our own Joseph moment here, my friends. We may be the ones who are storing up in these tough times. Checks my pulse. Thanks so, man. After the stream, get on this one. There you go. Extravagantes, what's going on? Absolutely. What a voice. We need to onboard him into Hex. Thanks, Crypto Heartbeat. Back to work for me. All right. Thanks for checking in. Crypto Compassion, thank you for being here. If you want to sign the petition for Texas independence to get on the primary ballots, you want to go to tnm.me/petition. Extravagante. I love when you talk purpose. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Me too. I mean, it's what it's all about. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, Robert. You know, there's a certain part of this where we've given this all away, and you're absolutely right. And so, what are we trying to do? I mean, this is kind of the red pill, blue pill thing, right? Do you actually want to see what's actually happening? And you're right. A big part of that is education. Um, all right, I will check that out, Finbear. It's definitely gifted from God. When tuned to the correct frequency, it just flows through effortlessly. And you see that. It's a ginger revolution. Jack, thanks for being here. Folks, thanks for joining the Pulse today. This is a unique, different type of stream. But I'm taking it as a clarion call, a call for us to not be just diamond-handed, but to recognize that this is a transitional time, a time of crisis, and that we have a responsibility and that you need to speak up and you need to understand that you got to give and care about others in addition to yourself. And that's the whole secret to this whole thing. And it's what Richard Hart actually understands. Advocacy for other people. How do you get the glory, as he says, right? The love of people. You serve them. You help them not get wrecked. You help build systems and tools that they can animate for good. But folks, if you get the wealth and the resources that are coming in this next bull run, I want to see good, honest, regular folks have an opportunity to serve with those resources. But let's remember, we don't put our hand to it. We align ourselves with the very nature and framework of all of this. Thanks for being here. Ego Foundation, hit the likes, please. Thanks for getting me over 10,000, by the way. That was kind of fun. We broke the 10,000 mark here a couple days ago when we had Lamont Black on. That was a big interview. Looking forward to what's coming next. But folks, do not be discouraged. You're in the right place at the right time. You just need to let people know, because it's all about the growth of adoption. And think about it. The power is in community. That's where the power exists. Anyone can put up a token. Anyone can put up a token. It's about people who are moving in a direction that are trying to create a better world for themselves, their families, and for others. And so take responsibility for that and share with people this alternative. And here's the thing I want to remind you of. People have to have crypto prove itself to them. I had to do that when I came into Hex 2 days before Big Payday. Did I back up like inheritance and put it all in there? No, I was like, hey, I'll check this out. I'll put my toe in the water. People just need to know that there actually is an alternative to the CBDCs, that there is this sovereign alternative that's properly decentralized that could be the only vertically aligned ecosystem that represents freedom and sovereignty. But I'll tell you what, just when you think evil side will win, love will show the way. Take care, folks. Do not mess with Texas.